A ton of people play poorly in tournaments because of their endgames, and in result, waste a lot of time in the process. Today, I'll be going over the endgames blueprint that will guide you through the fundamentals of mastering them, because in reality, they're simple and come down to the fundamentals. Let's get into it. Zone 6 is a zone that I would consider the start of endgame, and many people actually manage to agree themselves. The biggest, and I'd say the most common mistake that I've seen a lot of players do is by far blind rotating. In this clip you can see pro players cringe and try rotating without scouting, which is exactly what they talked about. And look how they get punished for this rotate. So as you can see, they didn't scout a single bit, so right now they have no awareness of where they're going and where the people are. So they're pretty much clueless. They actually stop here and try to scout a bit behind them, which is kinda good because they get some awareness, but it's still not enough, because if you take a look at this in a second, they actually don't know about anyone who's looking at them from potentially left, they haven't even looked at that direction, and right. And because of that lack of awareness, they actually end up getting beamed and losing most of their heals. As you can see, Cringe gets stacked for 80, which is about half of his heals gone in an instant. And these are tier 1 pros, which just shows you that this mistake is so big, so make sure that you're working on that mistake, and I guarantee you that you'll have much more consistent games if you can just fix this one single mistake. The solution to this mistake is actually so simple, but this is so common that I guarantee you, if you take a look at your last 3 replays where you died in endgame, you died to this mistake at least one time in your last 3 games. And for some it's going to be more than that. So, how do you fix this mistake? In order to avoid making the same mistake as Cringe and Twy in this case, all you need to do is scout through your cones. Now, if Cringe and Twy had scouted through their cones in this game, even for a single second, they would have seen that there is nobody behind them who can hold them, and that this kid is a free kill. They could have potentially even got a kill from that, but the main point is that they would have realized that nobody can really try to rush them, so they can take their time on the rotate. So what they should do here is just try to elevate themselves a bit, and when they do that, they are going to be able to scout for a lot of information. And this here is actually not that bad, because they blocked their back, which wasted some materials, but it's not that big of a deal. They stop here and actually try to scout behind them, but instead what they should have done is just try to scout in front of them, because if they hadn't done that, they would have realized that there's a duo who is trying to beam absolutely everyone, and that the left side is completely free and nobody can really beam them from the left. And with that information, they would have been able to freely rotate here if they just block the right and not get tagged for 80 HP, but instead they waste a lot of mats, builds, and half of their shields. Lastly, I want to say that scouting is not only specific to Zone 6, as you probably guessed, that it should be applied to every single rotate, as it is going to save you a lot of materials, heals, and just put you on top of the lobby. But no matter how good of a scouting and awareness you have, it won't make your rotate good unless you have the perfect timing. And this actually brings us to our next topic. Next up we have forcing rotates, and in short, you should never force rotates, because it is going to get you griefed. In the following clip, tier 1 pros, Skyjump and Warx are going to show us how not to play the game and why these mistakes are so important. In this clip you can see Skyjump and Warx completely forcing a rotate for no reason, and that actually ends up selling their whole game on the Zone 6 rotate, so I'm going to tell you what they did wrong and what they should have done to save their game. So you can see them getting fully sprayed by the team in front of them, and right now they're fully aware of them and know they're going to hold them. So what do you think they should do here? If you said that they should just rotate and just build, then you're a complete buffoon, please uninstall the game. What they should do in this situation is just wait for the zone to completely come on their back, because of 2 reasons. Now, the main reason is that these kids are going to feel a bit more pressure to rotate, because they know that their time is kinda going to run out, because they know that they can get held by the other teams as well. And in case they decide to not rotate, then the second good thing is that the kids below them are going to try to rotate as well, because their zone is going to be on them first. And because of that, this team here is actually going to have more options for people to spray, as there's going to be 4 people rotating at the same time, meaning that if Warx and Skyjump just follow this team, then they probably won't get sprayed or just won't get held for that long or just tagged for that much damage. But instead what they do is just try to run at the other team, and because of that they get completely focused and lose a lot of shields and sell their game. Now you can see them trying to force their way here, and that's not good, because as you can see, Warx actually ends up getting cracked, and right now they just have to stop, they end up getting lobbied, and it's just not looking good for them. In the last clip you saw the importance of following rotates and not forcing rotates, but there is a single, very small thing that a lot of beginner and intermediate players do that is very annoying and isn't helpful, and it's going to grief you and everyone's game. And this is shooting the person you're following. Now, for the love of God, please don't do this unless you're like down bad for a refresh, because you're not going to get a kill, you don't need anything, and if you're doing that, then chances are the player who you're spraying is going to stop and you're going to grief you and him, and it's just not worth it. So yeah, please don't do that, and let's get into the next step. Now that we've covered how to rotate, we need to talk about positioning. However good your timing and rotate might be, if you're positioned poorly, you lose a decent bit of your heals on your rotate. So, where should you position in endgames? Well, it's actually quite simple. Here is a question to wake you up. For $1 million, looking at this picture, tell me where do you think you should position to get the freest rotate in most situations? A. Center. B. Edge. C. In my Discord server, link in the description. Although C might have looked appealing for even the best players in the world, the right answer is edge of zone, aka B. But casual! Oh, you know it's coming. Shut up nerd, let me explain. When boxed up in the center, you might think that you will always get equal distance to every single zone poo, so you'll never be on the backside, and on first thought that might seem reasonable, but on second thought, you're completely wrong. So how do you expect to rotate when you need to protect all 4 directions and there are so many people without griefing your game? Well, let me tell you, you can do that. The secret to rotating is playing on the edge. Before I tell you why, pause this video and try to think of 3 reasons why it's better to rotate on the edge, and let me know your reasons in the comments. Alright, time's up. Hope you submitted your answers, and I'm going to tell you mine. So first of all, playing edge is so broken because you only need to worry about 2 directions as the zone blocks your back and one of your sides. And second of all, you have to tarp less as you only have to cover one of your side, either your right or your left, as the zone kind of blocks your back and one of the sides. And last but not least, you can position in the most broken place in zone 7, 8 and 9, and that is the X. If you don't know what the X is, it's essentially where the circle meets the zone. It's so broken and abused by pros because it's the closest point to the zone if you're playing the edge, and because it allows you to get a free rotate in most zone poos through that side. If done right, now you should get zone 9 with close to max heals and at least 100 builds each. From here, the biggest tip would be to avoid getting a refresh until second moving, as usually the first moving everyone is tagged and aware of their surroundings. It's a much better option to go for refresh on the second moving, as there's going to be way more shambles players and they're not going to be as aware, so it's going to be much easier for you to just jump in the box and get the refresh. Now that you've gotten your refresh, you need to go for the game winning play, which is either to take frontside low grounds or go for high grounds. If you choose option 1, then you need to drop frontside and overbuild, creating a lot of space as shown to cut people off and look for kills together with your duo. And notice I'm saying together with your duo, and this is really important because if you are both together, then that allows you to get kills much faster. You can just double bump someone or just full box much easier, and it makes your awareness much better. And for the high team watching, your job's a bit harder. You need to go on second height and preferably fizz, and then ramp your opponents or just jetpack on them, and that way you're going to make it much harder for your opponents to just track you, because if you're from different sides, then your opponents can't really look at one of you and just spray you out. So it's essentially just isolating your 1v1s and making it awkward for your opponents. And from them it's just like it's zone wars and you just stay hide. After you've done that, you just need to hold on to high ground or low ground and you'll guarantee yourself a win, or if you're on low ground, a top 2. You might have noticed that I haven't talked about refreshes out that much. That is because I have a whole guide about it in my Discord server, link on the screen and in the description. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching till the end. I know I'm annoying. Please subscribe and go touch grass.